I'm making some last-minute Christmas cards to have on hand. Come on in. Hello everybody, it's Julia Laird with Senior Susie Stamps, and today is Sunday, so it's Sunday with Susie. And I got all of my Christmas supplies put away this last week and realized when I was looking at what supplies I needed to restock that I still had this little bunch of scrap cards to make that are Christmas themed. So that's what I'm working on today, because you know how it is. You get your count of Christmas cards all ready and done and addressed and everything, and then all of a sudden you remember those 5 or 6 people that you didn't make a card for, or you'll get a card in the mail from Uncle Bob that you haven't heard from in 10 years and finally have his current address, and you got to send one out. So that's what these are going to be for, and I think they'll be cute cards. They're all different, of course. I'm using the scraps out of this Paper Studio pack called Gifts of Gold. I got, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago. But I still have a few little scraps left. It's a really nice little pack of paper, and it has an unusual brown tan that actually works very, very well with Stampin' Up! Baked brown sugar ink. So let's just flip through what I've got left here, because it's a nice little pack of paper. Has some odd things in it, like this brown and gold snowflake. But in general, I really kind of like this paper, and I don't know when I'll get it used up, but it won't be this year. So I'm going to put this out of the way, and I have put all my Christmas stamps away. So I went to the drawer. I should show you my drawer. If I can remember at the end of the video, I'll do that. If not, I'm sorry. But so I pulled this little stamp set out because it's got a really nice font for the Merry Christmas, and it's thin, which may come in handy. And it has a really nice sentiment. May the joy and love you feel this holiday season extend to every day throughout the year. It's called Christmas Greeting. I got it used, unmounted, and mounted it up on some easy foam. And when I do that, I try to find the smallest case that I can put something in, and it happens to be one of these little CD type cases, and I get these from eBay, as well as some of these type cases. You can find these fairly readily on eBay, and they're brand new, and I like to use those because they don't take up quite as much room. I keep these on my Gramercy cart. You can see I got them labeled Metallic Specialty. And we're probably going to use some of these gold ones. And I pulled out a few little pearls. I don't know if we'll need them or not. Not sure we're going to need this, but I know I'll need it for the inside sentiment. I've got some gold foil paper here also. And when we get these cards a little more to completion, I may want to take some little punches out of that. So I'm going to set that aside. And let's get started. These started out just being a real hodgepodge. Oh, I've got one more. Oops. And see, I've got everything kind of lined up in here, and if I dump them, I'm going to be out of luck. This is some Dazzles from Hot Off the Press Paper Wishes. And you can just go to paperwishes.com, search for Dazzles, and these are part of their fancy Dazzles. And I thought some of these would be nice on a couple of these cards as well. So let me put those back because they kind of go to the end of the pile, I think. So I'm going to do a couple of mini slimlines and some portrait and some landscape top folds. And this is that weird little snowflake that I thought would be strange to use, but you know what? I think in this card it's going to turn out just fine. Now, I didn't plan an inside treatment for this particular card, and these are going to be really simple and straightforward cards because I wanted to show, you know, what you can just make in a very few minutes when you need some of those last minute cards for adding folks to your list. And so I cut some 1/4-inch strips out of this foil stripe, which is a diagonal stripe piece. I didn't have very much of that in the scrap pile. I've got some full sheets in there, but I really didn't want to cut those this year if I didn't have to, because, you know, my goal is not to refile any scraps, and that's been a challenge this year. I've really tried hard, and not to refile scraps, just go ahead and make some cards out of them. But I'm afraid on this paper pack there are going to be a few left in the pack for next year. And this is a piece of, looks like a poinsettia flower. I'm just layering this in with the stripe, just for a little focal point down at the bottom of this snowfall. And then we'll see what we can do for a sentiment. And I think on this sentiment, I'm just going to go ahead and stamp a Merry Christmas. Now, this pack has some one sheet of paper in it that has Merry Christmas and season greetings on the paper. So I could maybe use one of those here. I'm not sure, but didn't that make a pretty card? And look, how long did it take? I don't have any idea. I'm at 6 minutes right now, but I have no clue how long that card took. Let me check this paper pack, because I think there are some of those sentiments left in here. And we might as well use them. Oh, here's a Merry Christmas. Maybe right there in the middle. When I cut these, I cut them with a little tag ticket punch, and I wasn't real happy with the way they turned out, so I'm just going to go ahead and hand trim them. And it means it's going to be trimmed really close. So I think what I'll do is to go ahead and mount these up on a little piece of scrap white paper that I've got over here. And then mount it up on a little piece of foam, and it'll be just a little bit of an elevated piece. Then I'm going to trim that by hand and put that right in the middle, and it's a simple, sweet little card. Put that up on a little piece of foam. I've had to redo absolutely all of my supplies this week. I had to redo card bases and foam tape and tape runner refill on my ATG gun. I was just out of everything. So, and the other thing I did was to trim my nails down, because you know I'm having surgery, and that two-handed nail trimming stuff's not going to happen. So now I have no fingernails to pull anything with. Isn't that aggravating? All right, now let's see if we can get this right here in the middle. And card one is done. I'll do the insides at a later moment in time. Hang on just a second. Let's keep working on these cards. I'm going to move this out of the road. Now this one has a little piece that goes on the inside, so I can just go ahead and stick it on there right now. Just a little piece of paper that was left in that 6-inch piece that I cut. Now this paper is not really super heavy, so I'm going to glue it up onto a piece of my card base, and then I'm going to put the whole thing up on some foam. That's the plan, because I think this card has a lot of visual interest, but I think it needs a little dimensional interest as well. All right, Cordelia, I see one of your little hairs here. Oh, well, we're trimming it back. For those of you that have cats in your craft room, you can feel my pain. Oh, there's really not any pain involved. She's a sweet pussy cat, and I love her a lot. There's that, and I just did that to give it a little more substance. That's all that was. Now, I'm going to glue these on. I'm going to start at the very ends, and then I'm going to go to the center. Y'all have seen me do this before, and the reason I do that is because of the spacing. It's easier to start and work to the middle on something like this. And it looks like I need to do a little trim off there, so I need to stay down towards the bottom just a bit on these. I'm going to put it right up on the edge, she said. It has turned cold here and windy. Whew. I do not like winter weather. It's just kind of depressing. Oh, I wasn't going to do that when I see I'm talking again. Oh, you know I can't talk and think. Okay, hang on now. So, what we're going to do is to use the grid mat and find the center, which is right here. And then I'm going to use my dots on the paper because they are lined up. There we go. And now all I have to do is find the center of this. So I'm going to pull it over, and you can see now I've got those approximately equal distance from these two lines, so that makes this the center. You follow me? That's the only way I can do this to where the end result kind of really looks the way it should now. Otherwise you get a little spacing off here and there. And it does show up. And I realize it's a handmade card, but I still kind of like to have my spacing sort of right to start with. Yips. Come on now. There we go. There. Now I'm going to trim this side off just a little bit to make it a little more even. And this layer is 4 by 5 1/4. Make sure. Yeah. Trim just a tiny off of this end because I can see some of those polka dots peeping through. There we go. That's a nice little card front there now. And it uses quite a bit of scrap, you know. So I'm going to mount that up this way on top of some foam. And we're going to make this a top fold lateral card. There we go. I'm going to put a little piece of foam underneath the Merry Christmas. And this card will be ready to put the inside stamp on. I think I'm going to do those all at one time. Just kind of run them through the stamp. Let's see, I wonder, do we want it down here or up the, I like it down here, I think, today. I'm going to kind of use these little dots as my guide to get where it looks kind of straight. Now this little card here has a nice little opportunity for a couple of little gems right there. I wonder about putting a couple of these on since I've got them right here. And they're screaming to go on there. It's crazy, isn't it? Crazy, crazy. These I got from the Dollar Tree. And you only find them once in a while, these metallic ones. So when I find them, I make sure I've got a few in my stash. But they come glued up on strips. So you kind of have to cut them apart. There. Hope you can see that's got a lot of sparkle and merriment to it. So there's card number 2 done. Let's look at card number 3 and see what it looks like. I put these together quite a while ago, and I had them sitting over on my little desk over here waiting, and I forgot about them. It's just goofiness. Just plain silly. I looked at them several times to say I would do them on a Thursday, and then I never did get to them. So when I was straightening things up, there they were, still there. Let's just see. These are cut 3 by 6. These mini slim lines are 3 1/4 by 6 1/4. So a half sheet works perfectly for a base line on these. And I had some little small square pieces left on this holly piece, and I thought, phew, what can I do with that? And so I thought maybe this would be a good plan for them. And this reminds me a little of a card sketch that I've seen kind of recently, and I'm sure it's an OWH. Now, once again, I'm going to use my dot pattern. So I've got 2 dots here, I'm going to have 2 dots there. I'm going to use some glue this time to put these on. Of course, my glue bottle's stuck. Okay, so I got 2 dots here, and I've got up next to that center point on this line and that line. And there we go. And I'm going to do this one next. And do the same thing. Leave myself 2, and then come up to the center of these others. And there we go. And that makes placing this third one just so easy. I'm going to leave, looks like 3 between, and then kind of get them in the same spot up and down wise. And there we go. I've got a season's greetings. I'm going to do the same thing I did before and put that up on a little piece of white scrap. This has a little scroll around the outside of it that I think is going to be okay. I don't mind that as much as I did that residual that was on that Merry Christmas one. There we go. Now, do we want it up here or down here? Down there would kind of tie the elements together. And that ties the elements together. I think I kind of like that in the middle. And we'll put it up on some foam. That is for sure. These are just very odd Christmas colors to me, but they somehow work with the gold, I think. Let me know what you think in the comments. You know, I'm always interested to know what you all think. So, I think this needs a little more blingy bling than I've got on there. Let's see. Maybe a little scroll. Let's just try and see what this looks like. These are a little challenging sometimes because they can roll back on you and they don't always straighten out really well. I'm just going to lay this on kind of gently. And so there seems to be a little, yeah, I'm going to put it like that, where this little piece here kind of comes down out of there. Oh, my fingers are sticking. Now, this is the point where I get my little X-Acto knife out. Let me get that. I wasn't prepared for that. I'm sorry. It's a finger blade from Fiskars. And they work very well. And on something like this, they are the perfect tool. If they're sharp. There we go. I'll set that back here. And now, oh, that made it much prettier, didn't it? Okay, so what I'm going to do is rub easily with my Teflon bone folder, just to make sure, and I'm coming in towards the middle so that I don't stretch it. I want to make sure I've got good contact on that dazzle. But isn't that pretty on there? Okay, so there's the end of that one now. Let's see what this one's supposed to be. Oh, wow. I like this one with the little ornaments on it. Now, I have some 1/4 inch plain white cardstock strips over here that are left from cutting something, I don't know what. This one's going to be a side fold portrait style card. And these just go right down the middle. So let's just see how that's going to work. There we are. Now, see what I was saying about these. No, I don't think we need that at all. Let's look and see if maybe I can put one of these little small straight lines on. And if not, I have some more straight line gold dazzles, but maybe this will work if we stick them right on the very edge of this. Oh, I think it's going to work, don't you? And I will save this little strip, this left, and put it on something else. So I just put that back over here and pull another one for the other side. These are handy to have in your stash just for a little something to go on your card. Like this, because there's really nothing else you can do except cut a strip with a die, or just use some mirror cardstock, which would be fine, but I personally think these just really add an extra little bit of glam to a card like this. There you go. What you do have to watch for is sometimes the adhesive on these is not the best in the world. So, as I said before, I'm going to rub towards the middle so that I don't stretch. Because if you stretch it, then it'll go wonky on you. And that one moved over just a little bit. And then when that happens, I just go back in and pick it up and move it back and give it just a little bit of TLC. Sometimes I've had to go in and put a little glue line down underneath these. But didn't that turn out to be a pretty card? Now, I do want to do a little Merry Christmas for this one on a plain white piece. And I'm going to use that Merry Christmas stamp that we looked at a few minutes ago. And just kind of line it up on a stamping block here, because I can trim around it as I need to. Let's see how this looks. There. I need to trim that down just a little bit. I think with this one I'm going to use my little pusher and see if I can get it straight. Maybe like that. There we are. That looks nice now. This is just a 2-inch wide piece of cardstock with a piece of removable tape on it. You could use washi tape. I keep it over here on my desk for exactly that purpose, when I'm trying to figure out something that needs to be cut a little smaller, but it's really challenging me to get it in the right spot. It gives you enough room, and then you can line it up where it's nice and straight. Now I'm going to put this up on foam like we've been doing. I didn't plan for very much to go on the inside of these cards, just because it was, come back here now. All right. Now we're going to drop the little drop of glue down. And I'm going to get that right next to that strip that was there. And you can tell I didn't put, well, maybe you can. You can tell I didn't put very much on there now. This strip has already been cut. So I may get my head in the way because I want to get it, I want to get it just where it needs to be before this glue grips onto it. There. And then I'm going to lay it down without stretching it and put it down where it needs to go and let that dry for just a second. It'll be fine then. There we are. And then this one I'm going to put up here so it doesn't obscure any of the ornaments too much. And that card's done. Isn't that pretty? Okay. So we've gotten about to our 30-minute mark on my timer, and I hate to keep you all any longer than that, so I'm going to show you these 4 cards that we made today, and we'll make the other 4. I'll go ahead and do a little short video for Thursday, and let me know what you think about these. I like these little mini slimline cards. They're just different enough. Now I'm going to go ahead and stamp the inside, and they'll be ready to go. So let me know what you think, if you like them or not. And have a great week, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye, y'all.